quick week. So we got the quick week, getting going. It was good getting in yesterday, kind of putting that game behind us with the team. Moving forward, obviously a big challenge for us this week. You have another explosive, high-scoring offense coming in. It's unique, like this one too, is not just a coach that knows it inside and out, but really played it, So he knows that there are coaches' eyes, he knows that there are players' eyes for their offense, so they're going to cause us a lot of challenges all over the field. Defensively, very, very athletic defense, a lot of speed on that side of the ball, a lot of quickness. And then you combine the style of defense that they play, how quick they are, and how solid a defense they are with the explosive offense that they have, can cause you problems and allow them to dictate the tempo of the game. And we got to make sure we're able to try to control the tempo of that game for us. So this will be a big week for us. Obviously, you just see the league, how competitive this league is from one week to the next. There's 2 weeks left in the season. I think there's 5 or 6 teams competing to get to the championship game with 2 weeks left, and just shows you how deep and talented from top to bottom this league is. You got to bring your A game every single week, and we're going to have to do it on the short week, playing Friday night this week.
Not sure where you are on film, but when he was coming out of Gorman, kind of the idea about Michael was he was too small to play quarterback, but now he's not a wide and run and shoot, and really found himself.
Yeah.
Have you seen him in terms of what you think he might bring?
Yeah, I don't remember him from high school at all, but he is very accurate, understands their system, gets rid of the ball quickly, can make a lot of the throws, can throw it, from sideline to sideline across the middle. One of the things, you watch him get into a rhythm, and the understanding of the system that they run, which is huge to get the ball out of your hands quickly. So I think he does a really good job of that.
You mentioned the unique nature of their offense. For those that may not know, what kind of main similarities and main differences to the offense that we run here at UNLV?
I don't know it's completely different offense. Totally different. They're four wide receivers, 10 personnel, and they just throw it all over the place. And that's kind of the whole version, like run and shoot would be their deal. Where we're kind of the pro offense, and they're so it's I think very, very different. Not a lot of similarities between the two systems.
And on the other side of the ball, I think the number is 14 sacks in the last 3 weeks. A lot more pressure on opposing quarterbacks in general. What's developed throughout the year that's kind of led to that trend over these last couple of games?
You just different opportunities with playing different people, obviously, different game scenarios. You look some of the previous weeks, you're playing Boise, we're behind, so they're going to play ball control, not really throw the ball a whole lot. You play Air Force, who doesn't throw the ball much at all. So I think some of that it gets dictated on who you play as much as anything else. But we want to continue to be aggressive defensively, come after people. It'll be a different challenge getting sacks because they're a passing offense. They go, it might be easier to get sacks against passing offense, but they spread the field and get the ball out really quick, so that makes it pretty challenging.
And then going back to the crazy game and the crazy ending over the weekend, Caden McGee at running back. We had not seen that really all year. What led to that? And then secondly, what was going through your mind when it worked out at the end and he dove pylon and scored?
Well, that was pretty good. And he's a guy that I think has a great future for us. That I think everybody sees it all the time. You're looking for different ways to get guys the ball and get them touches, and just creating a little different package. We're looking for some different things, different thoughts, different ideas to continue to want to be as diverse as possible. And he's a guy that's got great speed, and hey, how do we get guys touches within the system, within the offense? And it was a way we did. We ran in we had a couple play package out of it, and had success in the package, and saw that they hadn't adjusted, so we're able to kind of run the same play a couple different times, and without them adjusting to it.
You mentioned after the game that you guys found something in the fourth quarter and overtime. When you turned on the film, what stood out in terms of the mental toughness compared to earlier in the year?
Well, boy, we had it early in the year too. You know, I don't know if it's any different for us than earlier in the year. I mean, we had to come back. You know, we were down 14 points 3 different times on the road. You know, this game was a back and forth one. You know, we've had games where we've had to come from behind. We've had games where we've had to hold on to a lead. We've had kind of the back and forth scoring in different games. So, you know, I think the mental toughness is to be able to go continue to perform, make plays, believe in each other for 4 quarters or maybe more like we did this last week. That this team's had that right from the beginning, right from game 1. You know, game 1 didn't really start out the way we wanted it to of the season, but we had to have the mental toughness to find a way to come back to win that game, and we were able to do that. And we're able to do that again on Saturday, and we've been able to do that through most of the season, you know, pretty much the whole season.
Coach, you talk about Hawaii's explosive offense, your DBs, your secondary, how are they improving? How perfect do they need to be on Friday?
Well, you know, I mean, the key is you know, they're gonna run a system that they're gonna have plays. We got to be in position. We got to have great eyes. You know, if we're mixing up coverages, you got to be able to stay with your man. Be where you're supposed to be with great eyes if we're in zone. You know, and when they get the ball out, we're gonna have to tackle. You know, I mean, when you're playing this type of team that's gonna spread it, they're gonna get the ball out into the open field, and you're gonna have to make one-on-one open field tackles. So, I think that's gonna be a big part for us on the back end this week.
Coach, you mentioned Hawaii's explosive offense, but the defense has done a good job at limiting big plays. That, if you count out the quarterback draw last game, but just how happy are you with the improvement of the defense over the last couple of weeks?
Well, I think very pleased, because, you know, we talk about the elimination of the mistakes that are there, and the opportunity to go make big plays. And I think, you know, we've cut down on mistakes, and we've made some, you know, we flipped the script and made some big plays on the defensive side of the ball. Last week with sacks and tackles for loss, to put the offense behind the chains. So, you know, you're pleased with that, with the growth. I mean, we have a lot of guys. You know, again, there's a lot of first-year players on this team for us in this system. Now, I know at the back end, it's really not a first year anymore. And then there's a lot of guys that haven't played much. You know, I mean, there's a lot of our guys that are players that they haven't played in 3 to 4. You know, especially some of the guys that transferred in hadn't played in a couple years. You know, they were at schools and they were sitting on the bench. And so I think, you know, as they continue to grow and develop and apply things, and each week brings it in this league right now. Each week brings a very unique challenge. This is a totally different offense than we played last week. That was a totally different offense kind of than we played the week before. And, you know, then you're playing, you know, the triple option one week. You're playing the run and shoot the next. You're playing kind of a single wing that we played last week. A lot of the single wing stuff that they did. Then you're playing a 2-type power running offense. So, you know, when you're going into it, there's so many different variations you have to make each week defensively for the guys to understand, and not, you know, I mean, just how you play our very base call is going to be played very differently from one week to the next because of the variety of offense you see. So, but I am pleased. Our guys continue to work, continue to grow, continue to build on what they know and gain experience. And, you know, I'm not going to be able to say that, hopefully not saying that this time next year, and you're sitting there and say, hey, you know, you have more than 2 returning starters on the roster. And, you know, so that these guys now have that experience and understand how it applies to the different teams we play in this league.
And lastly, I know it's only been a couple of days, but do you have any additional update on Jet Thomas heading into?
Yeah, I mean, he's practicing today. You know, like we said, I mean, he went to the warm-ups. You know, at his position, what makes him his explosiveness back there. You know, I didn't need him playing at 70% kind of the rest of the season. We really wanted to get him healthy, so he'll be out there doing some light stuff at practice today, and hopefully build up as the week goes on. And I certainly expect him to play on Friday.
Coach, I know the focus is on you guys, but just keeping your eye on UNR, your thoughts on the outcome on Saturday and just how fast things are changing in the Mountain West.
Well, I just think it shows the depth, right? I mean, you come back and you're, you know, I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, hey, like, this team, like, lost the week before, right? Like, if you talk about Reno, like, they lost bad the week before, and then they won by, like, 40 this week. You're like, okay, you know, holy cow. You know, San Diego State, like, absolutely crushes, like, just kind of crushes Boise, and yet they lost to Hawaii, right? And it's
It's all over.
It's all over, and I think that shows how good a league this is from top to bottom. I think, one of the things when you want to look at a league, there's a lot of leagues that are top heavy, right? And they got some great teams at the top. They get a lot of cupcake games in there. Not a lot of cupcakes in this league, right? I mean, there's not. You better, if you don't bring it every week, you can be on the lopsided side of a bad loss. And so I think that's one of the things. That's why I think, when you look, the respect the league got last year with Boise going to the playoffs, I think as people look at this league and the depth of this league and how we do non-conference, I think is pretty impressive.
Does this game feel like a rivalry to you at all? I mean,
it does, because I'm learning it. You know what I mean? It's you learn about, the rivalries when you get there as a coach. I think obviously it's sometimes different when it's an in-state rival, right? Because you hear about those on a daily basis, right? Because your neighbor is this person or that person, right? But I think the cool rivalry part is just the relation the city has with the islands of Hawaii and the background it has that way that you go learn about it, that you feel that it is. I don't know that it's a rivalry where you're sitting there and there's rivalries where you really dislike the people you play. I don't know that it's that type of game. I don't know. A lot of people tell me I'm learning that one, but it doesn't feel like that. It kind of feels like, hey, this is kind of a cool rivalry game because of the culture.
It's a cool trophy.
It is.
Pineapple.
It's heavy.
Pineapple.
Very heavy.
Coach, Allegiant should be loud again on Friday night. How do you feel the home field advantage developing this year, and what does it mean to your team and the program?
Well, listen, I've done this for a long time, and the crowd, the players feed off the crowd. There's a lot of different things the crowd do. Our band does an amazing job of kind of getting everybody going. They're kind of they set the tone, and so what happens is there's a lot of things. There's one, the crowd being hyped up. Well, that causes problems for the opposing offense, communication issues. Some of those things where you make it hard to play because it's so loud down there on the field. It makes it harder for them to communicate, snap the ball, do those things. But also the players feed off the crowd. They feed off the momentum, the energy the crowd pours out onto the field. You feel that, and that lifts you up as a player, lifts up the sideline. So I think our fans have done an amazing job. They continue to do that. Hopefully we have a great crowd on Friday night. I know it's a huge sports week here this week, right? I mean, you got a big Monday Night Football game tonight. Basketball came off a huge win. I thought that was fantastic. For Coach Passner getting to go back. I mean, congrats to them, right? Getting to go do that. I know it's a meaningful game going back to where you've been before. I've had that opportunity, and I know how big and how important that was for him and the program. But we got a game this week. Where Friday night you got Formula One. It's everything going on. So hopefully the city, the Rebel fans turn out Friday night to come support us and create that unbelievable environment that we've been able to feed off of so far this year.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Questions? No questions?
Tony's not here.
We'll start with Anthony. As far as the way that game ended, there was a lot that led up to it. It was a defensive struggle, especially by the standards of this season. With trailing 13-10 going into the half, what have those halftime conversations been like with Coach Mullen this year? Because that's not the first time that you guys have been in the spot like that and found a way to pull it out.
Yeah, no, I feel like we were always in a good position to win the football game. Being down 13-10, a lot of it was on the offense. We didn't execute down the red zone, and to win versus a really good football team, you had to score in the red zone.
So what plays into that? I mean, what would you have done differently in the red zone in your eyes after looking at the film?
Yeah, no, there's certain plays that you want back, certain protections that I should have flipped, certain runs that I should have handed off. A lot of it was on my part, but I got to fix that this week.
And then with no Jet, did you guys find yourself adjusting in terms of the play calling and the scheme offensively, or do you trust the guys behind them to really just keep it going?
Yeah, no, I trust the guys behind Jet. Kevon and Jalen, they're really good backs, so they did a great job Saturday running the football.
And then Jake, for you, really like 4 or 5 different scouts for your opponent in a row. It's just been kind of a weird season in terms of the schedule. So for this Hawaii team, what's going to be different on the defensive side of the ball that you guys are going to be paying attention, maybe compared to the past couple of games?
Yeah, I know they run a lot of 10 personnel, so they're going to air that ball out. We just got to make sure we're sticky in coverage. We may have a couple different packages in this week. Obviously, we'll start all that today with the film and everything. But yeah, man, just being sticky on the receivers. I know their QB is very mobile, very good player, and we'll have to bottle him up.
Anthony, you just want to talk about the game-winning touchdown, just the confidence and trust you have in Caden and how you've been lifting him up this season.
Yeah, no, Caden's been awesome the whole year. We've had like six or seven different packages for him this whole year, and we actually got to call it this game, and it worked. It's so funny because we ran the same play 3 times, and it really should have scored every single time, but we just didn't block outside the perimeter. But the receivers did a great job blocking, and Caden did an awesome job scoring.
A couple drop balls in the first half with JB, just working on that with him. What do you want to see this week?
Yeah, no, JB, I have so much trust in JB and all those guys. Things happen. I'm going to throw bad balls, and they're going to drop balls. It's football.
And then for you, Jake, just, big matchup Friday night for the DBs, secondary. What do you want to see from your guys?
Like I said, just being very disciplined, making sure we're not busting coverages for explosives, because, as you know, as a secondary, once it gets past us, it's a touchdown, So we got to be that last line of defense and make sure we bottle the quarterback up and are really sticky on the receivers.
What's the change you see in this building, maybe at practice, the attention to detail, for you guys to be so physical right now?
Like I said, just limiting the explosive plays, being more disciplined in practice, holding our gap assignments, making sure, like I said, we're not busting coverages. Just trying to be as perfect as possible. I think as long as we strive for perfection, that's the best thing we can do as a defense, and just keep playing together.
This has been a pretty intense matchup over the years between these two teams. You guys in Hawaii. I don't know if you guys see it much as a rivalry. You do play for a trophy, Pineapple Cup, but and it's not Reno. But you see it as a bit of a rivalry.
Yeah, no, I think if you're playing for a trophy, it's something, right? But no, that's a really good football team. We're just super excited for this matchup.
In the same way, we're playing for a trophy. It means something. We obviously want to keep the trophy here. And of course, we haven't given it up in the past 2 or 3 years, I think is what he said. So we want to keep that here. We know they're a great team, and it'll be a great challenge for us.
For both of you, how closely do you watch standings? Everyone's bunched now. Same as saying a bunch of teams with 2 losses. Do you keep up on that stuff? Do you keep up there's 19 people out there who are projecting where you're going to a bowl.
Yeah, I really don't. I really just focus on winning the next game, winning the game that you have during the week. You really just can't look at the outside noise. That's what really gets you messed up. So I'm just worried about this week.
Yeah, I think what we can do is, really focus on putting ourselves in the best position we can be in, and that's winning out and taking it game by game, like Dan said. I'm not too worried about, anyone else. Obviously, things have to fall, good for us, but like I said, we're not focused on the outside things. We're just trying to focus on, Hawaii right now. So.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.